Hey guys, James from James Workshop here, and today we're just having a look at what a future potential Xenos race could be if 40k wanted to expand on the Xenos races. Obviously, we've got a lot of Xenos races now, but I think we could add some more, whilst they're still adding variety to the, I guess, the Imperial, not Guard, just the Imperium, the humans, the humies. I think there's still a lot of room for growth in the 40k Xenos factions, and that's kind of what makes 40k is all the Xenos races, you know? It can't all just be Chaos and the Imperium. There's probably too many Imperium armies now. So obviously in the background here, we just have some of the original artwork, kind of just depicting different types of, well, alien species. So you got the Zote here. At the top left, you got other various little races. I think that's the Amble here. Literally just bought a model today of that. And then various other models. And you can probably pick out one or two things out of all of this. But I was having a look around on the Lexicanium website, all the various races, trying to see what else is out there that's already pre-existing in the lore, because that's where I'm working from, is what is in the lore and what has official artwork or an official model of something at some point. Because if it exists, it makes it easier for GW to work it in and bring it out. So whilst I was doing that, I actually found this really cool website. It's called tvtropes.org. It's probably got a lot of other stuff on here about tropes in movies and film, but it actually has the main races of the random Xenos species that aren't actually out. And I thought it was actually kind of cool because I found most of these myself, but it's just kind of cool to come here and just get a quick snapshot of. So go to this website if you like it. So we've got a few races that they're quite existent in the lore of 40k, especially before the Horus Heresy. So we've got the Herod, just from the photo here. You really can't really make an army out of this, but I think out of every alien species here, they could definitely make their way into Necromunda or a once-off kill team of some kind, because 40k can do kill team boxes or releases for these alien races without having to do a full army and test the waters. So, kind of ugly. I just think, and it has to be like a vibe check to me, so I don't think Harad and actually, they wouldn't pass. No, I think they're too powerful from the previous lore. You got like these bat-like raiders called the Crave or Hrave. They're just bat people. There is quite a few different subspecies of vampires and vampire bats and bats in the warp and on other planets. So you could definitely do a nice mix there. Just bring out a full fleshed out vampire army. We've got the what's the Traitor Legion that basically doesn't exist because Kurz was killed, or he killed himself. And then you got the Blood Angels. They're kind of like two Space Marine-y vampire armies, but you could just do a literal vampire army, and you could even do some cross converting, and we'll look at this a bit later, of some of the Age of Sigma armies. Because if you can do a vampire army, you can literally just probably bring some things across. Obviously, change it for 40k. So, Crave, possibly. Roll, it's too buggy. And I think most of the alien races we will see actually will be bugs or insects of some kind. And I think we've already got the Tyranids, and I'm a huge bug fan in models and in gaming. These guys look too buggy for me, and we've got a lot of other bug races and things going on in 40k, so we can probably avoid as much bug, or not full bug. Rat Goal, talking about bugs, these guys are like the Xenomorphs. I think these guys would be actually a good decision. I feel like this artwork here doesn't do it much justice. So we come here to the actual Lexicanium where I found them, and we look at some of the artwork, because I feel like this artwork actually brings out what they could be, because these guys look like they are bugs, but they're actually quite heavily armored, and you could work from this and just make them full body armor. So it means you're kind of removing the bug elements. You can maybe have a couple of models that show or demonstrate the actual body of these aliens, but you can make them actually quite elegant and quite nice. So obviously in this artwork, you've got this very nicely armored, quite, it looks like he has knight armor on with a big shoulder piece in the background there. And they have these modern looking guns. You can see here, like it looks like he's got like a big Tommy gun, machine 50 cal gun thing there. Got a heavy stubber, apparently. And she'll have a look at this official artwork as well. Oh. There we go. You can work from this. This guy's got some studded armor there of some kind. That looks like it's just metal being wrapped around. You could definitely work from this and make them more advanced. Make them I guess a knightly armored Xenos race that can be spacefaring or something like that. That could be cool. I think these guys are probably one of the better options. Moving on after Brackle, who are fantastic. The Strixers. I don't know much about these guys. They're merchants, wanderers, and traders. I feel like that kind of trope we can't do because we've just brought in the Leagues of Votann, who are that, and they are the Space Dwarves. These guys might be good for an inclusion as like a supporting character in the Votann or in the Tau, potentially. And just looking at that, obviously they appear to be very peculiar. They kind of have a vibe of a Gene Stealer mix with Imperial traits. They're big slavers, humanoid aliens, they've got some claws. They very much give off Gene Stealer cult vibes. And I feel like we've already got that. So you might have something to work with here with some of the lore that exists, but I feel like it's overlapping with too many different armies already, so it's probably not a good option. And the Umbra, the Black Spheres, probably one of the, if you go deep into the lore of the Umbra, I believe these are some of the more deadly and powerful existing alien species in the world, or in the universe of 40k. And I feel like just because they're shadows or spheres, it's just really hard to demonstrate on the tabletop. Could be a great option for a Warhammer quest, or even maybe a kill team, like I said earlier. But I think there's a few other options. And I just want to give an honorable mention to the ambles. I love my bugs. This is actually a really nice bug. It's a beast of a bug, you know? You could definitely work the amble in and expand on the amble. Probably more for Necromunda than actual 40k, but you could expand on the amble and the type of bug it is, and maybe a bug civilization of some kind, or how an ant nest or a beehive works with all the different workers and soldiers and everything. You might be able to do that with these guys, and you could potentially make an army out of it, or at least like a Necromunda hive force. And in Necromunda, they already have some bugs in the desert, so there's no reason why they can't do another area where these things exist, and that's happening. So I think that's a good choice, and it's a good honorable mention. And there's a few other random animals and monsters. There's a few historic models and armies. Got the Lair. I'm not sure if there's any official artwork of these guys, so kind of moving past them. The Iron Men, the AI robots. This could be a good choice, and I think I've worked out a better way they could do the Iron Men later on, because they can't directly do the Iron Man like they've done here, how they are in the lore, because now we have the Leagues of Votann and they have the Kin. The Kin have taken over what the Iron Men are, and basically with all their kits that are coming out, and as you will see in our range review on Friday, where we do the Leagues of Votann, they're very focusing on the AI robot aspect, so they can't really do the Iron Men, at least not yet. But they could bring the old ones back, and the old ones are the Lizardmen, the Seraphon. You could bring them back, and you would not bring them back as what they were. You could bring them back in regards to, there's one old one remaining, kind of like in the Seraphon lore. You've got, is it Lord Croak? There he is, who is technically dead but still exists in his mummified body. You could potentially do this where one of these ships comes back into the Milky Way galaxy, or whatever the galaxy we are in 40k. I think it's the Milky Way. Would make sense. and they're not as advanced as they once were. They've seen other horrors and they've just been decimated, and they're returning back to their domain, which was the Milky Way galaxy. And it could make sense. It could mean that they got decimated by the Tyranids, because as we know, the Tyranids came in the lore from every single angle around our current galaxy. Maybe that's what we could do. Sounds like a good plan to me. We've already got so many pre-made models here. So basically, all you have to do is rework all of these models. So you got like a Slan Star Master here. Rework it to be more 40k. It can be very similar, but just make it slightly more sci-fi, but make it ancient technology sci-fi. Kind of like what you've done with the Necrons, and I do acknowledge the old ones in the way they look, or in regards to the Seraphon and the way they look, have a big crossover with the Necrons, and obviously if you know the lore, it was the old ones versus the Necron tier. I'm just starting to nerd out a bit. I think there's a good potential chance they could bring the Lizardmen back in some form as a new Xenos species. And all the kind of species and races we've looked at so far are kind of a bit more general, and I found some more that I think are really good options. I think from Blackstone Fortress, there is a unique opportunity with a current model that exists that we could bring back. And you're probably thinking, Blackstone Fortress is only like chaos and stuff. Well, no, there is the Spindle Drone, which is this little thing, and it's not that big, right? It's not a massive thing. And in one of the expansions for Blackstone Fortress, we got the Guardian Drone, which, here it is actually much bigger, and it actually births or develops or brings out these hover drones, so these even smaller. So the Spindle Drone is like halfway in the size of the Guardian Drone, and is bigger than this little hover drone. Now, what my idea is, why could they could potentially work from what exists here and make a Titan Knight, like a big giant Knight army. And it's just these AI robot things with exoskeletons, and it looks like they're a bug, but they're robots as well. Whatever they are, you can make a giant force. We don't really have a giant force in 40k outside of the Chaos and the Imperial or Imperium Knight armies. And it'd be nice to get another army that is just big things, and then you could just do a couple of little supporting units, kind of like the War Dogs for the Knights. So bigger than this, similar design maybe. Go your wildest. I'm not a designer. I don't know. I think these guys could be really cool because you could literally just make these guys a bigger, bit more armor on them, and just make them a big knight-sized monster. And that could be a whole army. You don't need to even release that many. What would you release at the start? What? Two models, and you could have a whole army. Just throwing it out there. I think it's a good opportunity, and they look like big alien turret things anyway. No, good choice, and yeah, I still think the Rakghoul are the best option. And there are some other races I found in the lore. You got the Viscoan. These guys have regenerative abilities. They are a little bit weird. I know one of them in the lore is a rogue trader, and I believe their race has actually been wiped out by the Tyranids. But maybe we could make an expansion. We've got like the Imperial Agents army at this point. Could we make a rogue trader army? And that kind of brings in all these different alien species into this little rogue army type thing. I don't know, just a nice mix match. I can't speak. That could be a good way. And look, I'll be honest, I really don't think GW are ever going to expand on the Tower Auxiliaries as much as I want them to, and this could be a way they could do it. Use a rogue trader, bring in all these different little alien species and races and units, and you can make an army that way. That could be cool. I also think there is a lot going on in Necromunda here where we could potentially, kind of moving off Xenos to a degree, make a different human force that has nothing to do with the Imperium. There's so much going on here. You got the Vansar, they're very technologically advanced humans on Necromunda. They've got all the exosuits and the power armor and everything. You've got just the normal law enforcers. You've got Gene Stealers, funnily enough. You've got all these desert dwellers. You've got such a wide variety of models in Necromunda. Could we not use what you've kind of done here and make, I don't know, a new civilization that expands over a few different worlds that haven't even been in contact with the Imperium? And that they actually have their own whole force. You could even do like an Age of Sigmar, Cities of Sigmar, with all the new human models, but kind of work that into being technologically advanced, but they still have all these medieval traits and looks and weapons and everything. That could be really cool to do, and it would be distinct and unique. There are so many different alien species in 40k in the lore. If you go through the Lexicanium, it has every single race, sub-race, everything listed. Why most of them don't have much lore other than a sentence or two, but there's so much you can do here. There's so much we can expand. Like, look at Tau Empire species. Look how many auxiliary species there are for the Tau. We have the Tau, we have the Kroot, and we have the Vespids. That's all we have. They can do more there. The Tyranids, they could re-release the Zote. So if you didn't know, the Zote, which is also a Blackstone Fortress model, I believe, is a mix between being a Tyranid but not. It's like an enslaved Tyranid unit under control by the Hive Mind. It's used as a, not a consultant, ambassador, that's the word, between other races. Yes, the Tyranids are all hungry, and that's all they want to do is eat. And obviously the Tyranids have their own other subsection or sub-race. But they've got the Zote here as well. So the Tyranids also communicate with other races in some kind. We could expand on the Tyranids. Make a whole nother unique army. There is so much we can do here, so much lore, and you already got so much pre-existing artwork and lore that you can work from what you already have without making anything new. Please, GW, let's get some creative new models out and new lore that expands it and it's unique. That's all I'm asking for. Let me know what Xenos race you would actually like to be included into the 40k world with modern models in some form, and how you'd want that to be introduced. Otherwise, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.